welcome back to another episode of Gospel Love, Heroic Husbands Edition. I am Caitlin.
I am Aramis.
And I am Coach D.
So today we're switching it up a little bit. We are,
yes.
we are going to be talking about our Heroic Husband Challenge that we have coming up and what it means to be a heroic husband.
Yeah, we are in challenge mode where we're challenging husbands this January 26th, 27th, 28th. It's a 3-day challenge where we're going to be challenging husbands to muster the courage to love as he loved. I remember last night we was on a Clubhouse call, and I pretty much just shared my testimony and how I came to this place to where I we love the way we love. And the guy asked a very interesting question. He said, how did you get the courage? Because, I told him how I was in the professional football background. And, when you're the professional athlete, the macho, all that go with it, right? But then I ended up becoming this lover and this mushy, affectionate, person. And it's like, how did you walk in the courage, or where'd you get the courage to, based off what I'd shared with him, how I become towards Leslie. And I was saying, it's very interesting you say that, because part of our Heroic Husband's Challenge is the courage to love as he loved. Right. It takes courage to love from a masculine perspective, the way God intended for us to love, right? If you really want to study and know how God intended for the masculinity of a man, the masculine side of man, love, you have to look at Jesus. Right, the Bible talks about a bruised reed he shall not break, and a smoking flax he shall not quench. That speaks to the tender, affectionate, loving, caring, mushy side of Jesus. Right, it speaks to that side of the masculinity of love. It's okay to be male and man and manly and masculine and love and be mushy and be all soft and tender and sensitive. Right, and sensitive to your spouse. It's okay. And when he brought that out, I said, man, that's exactly what we get into when it comes to our Heroic Husband's Challenge. Like the courage to love, how Jesus loved. It takes courage, right? It takes courage to walk in a room full of men and greet your wife and hold your wife's hand and have her sitting under you. It takes like, man, why you all like, man, don't you see what we have? We're all in, no, it takes courage. Right. So that's, that's something that we challenge husbands to do, and really help them to see that that's loving like a man is supposed to love. Right. It's okay to express how you feel. It's okay to be emotional. It's okay to be energized and charged and passionate and affectionate when it comes to loving. And I'm not talking about sexuality. Right. I'm talking about when we're sitting there watching TV, when we out at the mall, when we driving around, like to be able to do that, to hold her hand and to kiss her and to greet her, like all of those things go into the masculinity of loving. Right. That's loving.
We're not saying be a punk.
Right.
David was a lover. David was not no punk.
Yeah, you walk up on David wrong if you want to. Walk up on him the wrong way, you lose your head. You lose your head.
Yeah,
Talk so.
I mean, Jesus was walking in the synagogue flipping tables over.
Listen.
So like it's what we're talking about is the strength to be vulnerable. The strength to allow love to just be continuous throughout your marriage, throughout your love relationship.
Listen, Peter was gangster, man. Let me tell you like it is. Peter was gangster. Boy, they try to mess with Jesus.
Oh yeah. You see, trying to do the ear off.
Listen, he wasn't trying to chop his ear off.
Right,
Dude moved out the way. He's going for the neck. Dude moved out the way, he got the ear. Right. Peter was gangster, man. Peter was gangster. See, masculinity, and I'm talking about faith-based men. I'm talking about men that go to service, men that worship God. Yeah. Like that, and I'm saying that to describe what most people characterize as being tough and hard. Yeah. It's gangster. Like man, you come to mess with my guy, you better watch your head. Right. You better watch your neck, because Peter, he was trying to chop the man's head off. He wasn't going for his ear. Like he was like, come on. Right. Lord, tell that woman to go on about her business. We ain't got time for that. He said, no. Little kids coming, no, y'all going somewhere else. No, it was like our portrayal of masculinity under this divorce culture and in this warped society is all screwed up.
Right, it's twisted.
It's all messed up. We can't go by that. We got to get into that word. We got to look at the ideal man, the model man of Jesus and look at the masculinity and how compassionate and how chivalrous he was when he told the girl who was sick. He said, "Talitha cumi, damsel, arise." Like that was chivalrous talk. He was speaking to her in an affectionate, loving way. Like that's how men are supposed to love. We're going to challenge them to love like that.
Yeah. It's
First, we're
nothing
going to
like,
demonstrate it, and we're going to challenge them.
right. It's nothing like a masculine lover.
Yeah. She's been smiling the whole time we've been talking about it.
Yeah.
But you say that, and last night during the clubhouse call, Sister Kim was talking about this morning. She said she could feel the energy of the women in the room and the excitement of the unmarried women. Like one woman put up there, this makes me and gives me the strength to wait on the right man that God has for me, right? Because that's what happens a lot of times. We get anxious, we get impatient, and we marry just who we think, right? And we're not sure about it. But if you wait for the one God sent you,
Right.
husbands, if you wait for the one God brings before you, right? Because we're under the impression that the scripture, because the scripture says he that findeth a good wife, that means we go out searching and we start dating. No, that's carnal.
Right.
That's unrenewed mind. That's antichrist.
Yep.
That's ignorant, right? We got to look at how did the first man find his wife? He found her in front of him. He found her in the will of God for his life. The way the word of God reads, the context is that it was after he was doing what God had called him to do. See, built into the life that God has for us is your wife, is your husband. As you go about doing the will of God, that word find literally means to emerge, to appear. It means to arrive at a point. It don't mean to go out looking for and getting on the dating service and having 10 different women you dating at one time and seeing which one you're compatible with. That's what.
Yeah.
That's what folk teaching.
That's what they do.
Get on the clubhouse. That's what I'm talking about. That's what folk teaching. Talking about faith.
Right.
Ain't no faith in that.
Right.
Right? We're challenging husbands. We're challenging husbands to love as he loves. And that takes courage.
Very much
And that
so.
takes courage.
Very
Right.
much so.
You know?
What makes up your heroic husband?
Oh my goodness. Sorry, I need a second. I touched my lip. I like scraped myself. Make sure. I'm
Make sure the lipstick right. Make sure it's right.
What was the question again?
So what makes up the heroic husband to you? Like what is the most appealing part of a heroic husband to you?
From a woman's perspective.
From a woman's perspective.
Someone who allows me to be all that I am in my femininity.
That's a great definition.
Yeah.
Because the actual idea of marriage and loving and husbandry and wifery and submission is to bring out the best, in the one you love, right? Submission is to tenderly devote yourself to serve the one you're loving to life. That's the idea of submission, right? Biblical idea is to tenderly devote yourself to serving and to empowering the one you love. That's submission, right? It may come out in a feminine way for a woman's perspective, and it comes out in a masculine way for a man's perspective. But it's still a matter of submission. It may come out masculinely for me, from a male's perspective, is me going out and braving the elements and facing the world to create a structure that will produce wealth for our family, right? I'm doing this because I'm submitted to you, because I'm looking to serve you to life. I'm looking to give you everything you need to be the woman God called you to be. Hey, what's up, fam? Today's Winners One podcast is brought to you by our Coffee in the Morning Club. Listen, they say right now the divorce rate is anywhere between 58 and 62%, depending on the community or the culture you grew up in. But they say that rate is drastically reduced if you are a couple who finds a community of like-minded couples. We have a Coffee in the Morning Club marriage enrichment community of couples who are driven to have a faith-based marriage. This is a marriage that's based upon the principles that God ordained for marriage to be about. If you want your marriage to be drastically reduced from running into chaos, confusion, and trouble, you need to join this community. It is our Coffee in the Morning Club community that will enrich you and empower you and strengthen you to win and make marriage easy. It may come in you giving me an idea of how to build this structure and how to make sure that the back end and the administrative side is in control. That's what Sister Leslie did for me. I submitted to her when it came to that aspect of our business because that's what she's gifted at. So that's really what it's all about. It's about submission in its different forms, whether it's feminine or masculine. Well, when you talk about a heroic husband, one of those traits, because I'm sure that's just one of the traits, is he allows you to be all that you are called to be within the framework of your femininity. Now, when you get outside of the framework of your femininity, I got to say something to you. I got to let you know, whoa. You ain't got to be masculine. You ain't got to be masculine to be powerful.
Right.
Ah, man. You don't have to be masculine as a woman to be powerful. I like if we can just, you don't have to be masculine as a woman to be powerful.
Abigail, man.
Oh my goodness.
Abigail.
Eve.
Yeah.
I should call her Eve. Mrs. Adam. She didn't come Eve to afterward, but Mrs. Adam had a power to persuade Adam, listen, to choose her
Right.
over God. That's what the Bible says, we chose the creature over the creation. You mean to tell me you got that much power as a woman that you can get me to choose you over God? And you trying to be masculine? Just get all into your femininity. Get all into it. Right? Don't let society trick you into thinking that femininity is weak and lacks power and is deficient and it's not enough. If you really know how to work your femininity, remember the geisha movie we were talking about?
Yeah.
Girl, bad eyed to do. He went all off of the bridge, fell off his bike, all over the place. Like if you can get into the power of the feminine mind, the power of a feminine mind knows how to calculate and think and decipher. The power of a feminine voice knows how to speak power into a man, speak power out of a man. The power of a feminine touch. You talk about resurrecting life and drawing life out of a man. The power of feminine touch.
Get that blood pumping.
Like, I'm talking about,
It's not really bleeding into our Wondrous Wives, though.
Oh, yeah.
No,
That's our Wondrous Wives. I'm sorry. Our Wondrous Wives will be coming up in February.
Right.
But you talk about the freedom. Like, that's what a heroic husband will do.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of you being feminine. I'm not afraid of all that power exuding from you. I'm not afraid of it.
As a husband, and Caitlin actually just started doing this, and I was thinking about it. I think yesterday or the day before. I was like, man, like it really works. But anyway, so Caitlin has this thing now where, I asked Allie to do something, right? And then I went and made myself some a plate of dinner or whatever. Came and sat down, and I put a show on that Allie likes to watch with me. And so Allie naturally came out and we were talking about the show and all that. And instead of, coming out and navigating in front of everybody, she came and she just kind of whispered in my ear real quick, babe, kind of sending the wrong message when you put the show on that she's, that she wants to watch. And what that allowed me to do as a heroic husband is to first and foremost correct myself in front of everybody, so that I'm putting myself in a position to take responsibility for something that I did wrong, right? And then secondly, to be in a position to put things back in order, right? And I thought it was amazing, just the subtlety or the difference that it makes as a husband when I'm behaving in that way that allows her to be, who she is in her femininity, right? And
so let's give them the masculine version of that.
Right. So
her stepping outside of her femininity
would be why you just put a show on? Would that be like an
Yeah.
example?
You
Me
just
coming
coming
out
out, right.
and just saying,
right in front of everybody.
you just told her
You
to
on
clean the
spot.
room, but then you put her show on.
Right. Why are you sending her mixed signals? Why are you doing it? Like, okay, well, like, whoa.
Right.
Right? That's getting outside of that femininity that comes to you in a very subtle, loving, sensitive way, and saying, hey, listen, and allow you to initiate the correcting processes, right? And that makes the difference in everything from the instant atmosphere that's created to a greater sense of compassion and affection for you toward her.
Right. Because as a husband, I'm supposed to be in a position where when she comes to me with something, I'm listening with compassion. I'm listening with the intent to understand. I'm listening with the intent to receive, right? As a husband, not all men take that position when it comes to listening to their wife, like really listening to their wives. You know, it's definitely a position of serving. You know, when you have the intent to listen in that way, and I think that gets misconstrued with this distortion of masculinity. Oh, why you listen to your wife all the time? Why you the man? You supposed to be, you know what I mean? But there's wisdom in being able to, you know, take it down a notch. Really listen with the intent to understand. Really put yourself in a position where you are, you're comforting, you're confirming in the way that you listen, and that allows that opportunity for, you know, the communication to take place and everything that you know, good communication restores.
That's because we've lost, as men, generally speaking, and we've lost sight of identifying as a lover. Right. See, because from the time we can walk and understand, we've been told that loving is a sign of weakness, and from movies to music to that masculinity, there's not a sensitive side. My boy Ralph Tresvant got a lot of pressure. Got a lot of pressure when he wrote the song "You Need a Man with Sensitivity," right? A lot of pressure, that's a part of being a lover. All of those things we got to embrace them. And our heroic husbands challenge, we reveal to them we help them, we define and we reveal to them every aspect of being a lover, every aspect of that. Right. And because God has created us to be lovers, He's graced us to be lovers, He's gifted us to be lovers, He should have brought His love in our heart to function as a lover, right? Everything is centered around loving. And husbands, it starts with us.
That's right.
One of our mottos is, it starts with us, right? If you're not a husband that's not willing to accept the responsibility that this thing starts with you, then this challenge isn't for you.
Right.
Because it starts with us as husbands. Like, we are the initiators.
Yep.
And it's not because Damaris said it. It's not because Aramis said it. It's not because Caitlin liked it. It's because God ordained it to be that way.
That's right.
That it initiates, like He's dealing with us, the initiators. She's the multiplier of what we initiate. Yep. Right? She's the take it to the next level. Like, she's give it to her, and that thing gonna look like, whoa, baby, you did all that. Like, I ain't know you could do all that with that. Right? But I initiate the process. Right? And so when we understand that, and when we're challenged to be that, we'll become the heroic husbands God wants us to be. But if we don't give you definition, if we don't give you structure, if we don't give you a future outcome, if we don't give you a dream outcome to look at, then you're going to waddle in the divorce culture's ideals of what husbandry is supposed to be.
Right.
Right? And the movement is so powerful that it impacts your immediate family. It impacts the way a wife functions. Husband was designed to impact the way sons and daughters are raised, are formed, and are pushed out into the society, right? It impacts your children's children. Husbandry was designed to impact your children's children spiritually, socially, economically, right? It impacts our community, right? It has a domestic impact, it has an economic impact, it has a social impact. Husbandry, all this comes out of husbandry.
Right.
Like, it's so much bigger than me as a husband being able to tell my wife and children what to do and be able to, lay and sleep with my wife and do all those things. It's so much bigger than that. Hey, what's up? Coach D here. Listen, I got something I need to say to you real quick. Listen, marriage is made for lovers. Now, once you understand that marriage is made for lovers and you're not listening to them folks that keep saying you need more than love to make marriage work, you have to identify as a lover. Once you identify as a lover, now you got to learn what love is. Guess what? We have something for you that can help you understand exactly what love is in its most comprehensive nature. It's so much more than just an emotion, but you got to get the book to find out exactly what God's intent was for love and how it functions. Thanks. Get the book. God bless. Right. We challenge you. We challenge you to be a man commissioned to love his wife as Christ loved the church, and to lead his wife and their children into experiencing the 5-tiered greatness of our salvation. Right. That's husbandry defined. A man commissioned to love his wife as Christ loved the church. And we break that down. We give that hands and feet and make it practical. And how to lead his wife and his children into experiencing the health, the wealth, the protection, the deliverance, and the wholeness that salvation is designed to bring into our life. That's heroic husbandry. When we break that down and we talk about how you should have a health care plan for your family, it ain't just about me working out and keeping myself fit and strong. What can I do to help my wife do that? What can I do to help my children do that?
Right.
Everything from the physical exercise to the nutrition to the recovery, from the exercise to the recovery, right? All of that goes into the husband's sitting down with his wife and saying, how are we going to make this happen, babe? What's the plan for this? We initiate that, right? That's just scratching the surface of it. But when you talk about husbandry, everything about how society was designed to function starts with husbandry.
Caitlin showed me a video of this guy talking about if he was a woman, he would not decide what to eat. He wouldn't open a door. He went through this whole long line of list of things that a woman would or wouldn't do depending on, what was right and what wasn't. And then Caitlin asked me what I thought about that. And I said, well, he's right. Because in a sense, as husbands, with us being the initiators, we are the policy creators of the household. We establish the order. We establish the flow of the house. All, like you said, it all starts with us, right? If I come in the house and I'm barking at everybody and I'm yelling orders and I'm channeling now all of that anger and all of that frustration all the way throughout my household. My children are going to be frustrated. My wife is going to multiply that and give me back in the form of shaking her neck and
whatever
and wagging
it is.
her finger. And, you know what I mean? Like it's all
Puerto Rican West Side.
Yeah, right. But if I come in the house and I've said this to Caitlin before, jokingly, but it's very real. If you don't see me panicking, you don't panic. And that's a very real mentality to have as a husband, because what that does is that gives you a sense of responsibility for how things are going to operate in your household. If I come in the household, I'm confident, I'm happy, I'm taking care of my business, that's going to rub off. I don't have to bark orders at that point.
It's in the culture.
Right.
It's built into the culture, right? And that's the ideal for a husband, is to establish a culture of love. You establish the culture of love, she multiplied the culture of love, children are going to be good.
Yeah.
Right? And that's all a part of what you're going to get when you enter into our Heroic Husbands Challenge, January 26th through the 28th, 3 days, 6 p.m., 7 p.m. to 8:30, Thursday and Friday, and then 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. on Saturdays. We're going to challenge you. We're going to reveal to you. We're going to give you the idea of what it means to be heroic in nature. And it's really the idea of bravery and courage, is to stand in the face of adverse times and the stress and strain, and to stand up to the ideals of the divorce culture and the society that's confused about everything from their gender to the roles of a husband. Like, stand up and say, this is what a husband looks like. And I'm not afraid to say that, it's okay to be everything we've talked about. That's anti the current culture. The bravery that takes to love as a husband loves, to be what it is God has called you to be. And so we're going to challenge them. We're going to challenge them. And then we're going to give them an opportunity to take it even further and enter into this academy to where you want to talk about insight and revelation as it pertains to husbandry that'll transform the future of your marriage.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That's what we're talking about. So we're excited about it. We're looking forward to it, that we're going to have husbands. We're going to have husbands, as we've had in the past, take on this mandate, this mandate to love as he loved, and give himself over to God. First and foremost, give himself over to the will of God. Give himself over to being a lover. Give himself over to being those things. And once husbands hear that and they grasp that and they hear that and they grasp that again, then the courage to love, it becomes easier.
I just want to touch on the last slide. You were touching on economically, what we discuss and what we teach as it pertains to heroic husbands, right? And there was a comedian. His name is Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
He said chivalry is dead and women killed it. and the reason I bring that up is because, you know, nowadays there's this movement of feminine independence from men, and you know, even in the dating process, right? You know, you pay half and half and all that kind of stuff, right? But really economically, as a husband, even if I'm courting, it's on me.
I want that responsibility.
It's on me. I don't want her to have to come out of pocket for nothing, because at the end of the process of becoming one, I'm still in that role.
Right.
Whether we start off that way or we end, like I'm still in that role. Like that's where that is the pinnacle of my growth as a husband. Is that's what I'm going to be operating at. So why would you go into the dating process with a mentality that we're going to go 50-50? No, it's supposed to be 100-100.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we talk about that dating process and our position on dating. It's all messed up. We got it all. We date for the wrong reasons. We don't have the right why. We got the why, we got the how, we got the who all mixed up, right? You said something that I want to touch on before I get it, because that don't take us all off track. You said you were talking about husbandry from the standpoint of being playing that masculine role, and then you mentioned Dave Chappelle said, you know, chivalry is dead and women killed it. And I mean, it's comedic and it's funny, but in one sense, I would respond to that. And if we were having a serious conversation in this way, well, the reason you're saying it is because women have had to fight for the right to be a woman, and in doing so, they move over into that masculinity and that side of a woman that can still be feminine. Like femininity don't mean you can't be feisty.
Right.
Femininity don't mean you can't be like the most feminine woman you ever find in the Bible is in Proverbs 31. But look at how industrious she was.
Right.
Look at how entrepreneurial she was.
There's much more power in
Look how much powerful she was. Like the idea of a woman. The Bible says it like this: a gracious woman retaineth honor. That word honor, that means riches. It means wealth. It means favor. It means respect. A gracious woman retaineth those things, right? When you look at the woman that's under the grace of God, that means she's a power force, right? To pull out of you and to give you and to empower you. All that is a part of femininity.
Right. Yeah.
But because society has downplayed it and we've used women in the improper way, they've had to fight.
Right.
Right.
And because they've gotten over into the masculine side.
I was going to say, well, go ahead. I was going to say, well, because I think it's kind of like, I don't know what it's called, like, not full circle, but the reason why women have had to not only fight, that's one of the reasons, but I think the men losing what it really means to be a masculine man, like we just said, had to cause them, like caused women to be like, okay, well, he's not allowing me to be in my feminine, you know, my full femininity. I have to be this way almost, you know? So I think he can't say, you know, well, the joke is, you know, women killed it, but it was a result of
It ain't because they wanted to kill it.
Yeah, the men losing their masculinity.
Right. It's like all he understood in his distorted masculinity was more masculinity and bravado, and so the woman had to adapt and speak to him in the only language that he was willing to understand at that point. Right. And I think that's really the main reason why I wanted to, you know, bring that out in this conversation, is because part of understanding who you are as a heroic husband is also understanding your role as a husband, and also the role that a wife plays, and how you're supposed to cultivate that relationship and cultivate each of those roles.
We confuse the idea of a wife's submission to mean I'm supposed to dominate her.
Right. That's wrong.
And that's not what it is.
Right.
It's not about dominance, right? It's about equality. It's about oneness, right? When we look at marriage is really about oneness. Like what God is after is that new man, right? That new man when when a husband and a wife come together and they bring all of their spiritual prowess and all their spiritual power together, and they bring all of their spiritual gifting together. Excuse me. They bring their social power, they bring their brain power, they bring their psychological power, they bring their emotional power, they bring their desire power, they bring all that together, right? They become this force. They become this force. They bring their physical stature and their physical power. They bring their authority. They bring their reputation. They bring their name. They bring all that. They bring all of that, right? They bring all of that to a marriage, and you put all that together. Right, you become this force that becomes unstoppable. But we don't know nothing about the one new man. We ain't even got that. That's like I got to get you through heroic husbandry first before I start talking to you about all that. Yeah. Right, we got to get you through this challenge and live up to mustering the courage to love as he loved, and to be the husband that's going to be able to stand in the face of a culture that's anti-husbandry, according to the Word of God, and say, this is who I am, and this is how I'm going to be a husband, right? We do that. Now we can get on to the other stuff that's really going to transform the way we see marriage, and able to combat that divorce culture that's causing people to agonize and to spend millions of dollars and thousands of dollars and losing everything behind not understanding the role or the operation of a husband, and what that organism was designed to bring, not just to your wife, not just to your children, but to society. And so that's why we're excited about our Heroic Husbands Challenge, January 26th, 27th, 28th, 7 p.m. to 8:30 on Thursday and Friday, 10 to 11:30 on Saturday. It's going to be great. We got some stuff that we're going to give them. We got some stuff we're going to share with them that they're going to be able to take away and really be able to be challenged, because that's what it's about. Being coached and being challenged, because, men have a tendency to complain and talk about things that they have the power to change,
right?
But they just don't know it.
Right.
They just don't know it.
The links will be in the description, so make sure you are clicking those, joining the challenge. We'll have all our links there. So, any last thoughts or words before we close out?
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Any last thoughts or words that won't start a whole another 10 minutes?
All right, we can go.
Yeah, we're going. And we're getting going.
Yeah, we're gonna get back. Yeah, we can go.
Join the challenge.
Yeah.
You just join the challenge. It's gonna be well worth it. It's gonna be one of the best investments.
Yeah, for
the
sure.
best investment you'll ever make in yourself as a husband, and in how your marriage turns out. So that'll be it.
Thanks so much for joining us. We will see you next week.